Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Hill House Season 1, Episode 7, Eulogy, which I guess means it's the next day, the day of the funeral. The last episode was so well crafted. I did notice that a lot of the scenes were one-shot scenes, but it was only when, I believe it was Natasha commented on my Patreon, pointing out that it was like almost 3 shots, that when I was editing I really noticed that like it really was just a couple of really long shots. It was so well done. I've got my emotional support baby Yoda back. Sorry, but I need him. And I am very excited because I am truly loving this show, but I'm also just, you know, mentally preparing myself for the terror I'm about to feel. So yes, a reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. Listen to the police station after they took him away from the motel. Do they suspect him of murder?
How long is this gonna take? And I want to revisit your initial statement. Again, thank you for doing this voluntarily.
Yeah, they suspect him of killing his wife. It was suspicious.
Kids are fine. Oh, I've told you that. Yes.
He's playing good cop to try and get him on side.
I've been up all night. I've probably said some crazy stuff.
Of course, I understand that. We all understand that.
His wife has died.
I'm not under arrest.
And your wife, she's with the medical examiner right now, and it's a mess.
Oh, God.
About the other body.
That didn't have anything to do with us.
Oh, Lord.
You can fix
what other body?
We can talk now and get this over with.
Sit tight.
They are making him wait.
It's no trouble.
Using a lot of different police tactics on him here.
Rental.
Is he actually seeing his wife's ghost? Or is he sort of grief-affected unwell after everything he's been through?
Yeah.
Or does he just sort of pretend she's there so often?
You're really a grandfather?
That's right.
How come we've never met you?
I don't care about.
Okay.
I mean, I get that he wants to clear the air. He should have done it last night.
A little rain, that was all.
Your place is what, like a 10-minute walk from
Yeah.
here?
Oh. Why do the Dudleys allow people with children to buy this place without scaring them off?
It was like a tornado, but it's super localized. Maybe
You'd
like
find
2
a
miles
rational
wide.
explanation.
One of the most. It's got to be that, I think.
Stephen?
I mean, it's.
Wall feels squishy.
What?
See?
Oh, please stop doing that.
I can fix it.
They really believed so much in the dream they were buying for their children by making this place done up, and it destroyed them.
What's that smell?
Why are we down here, please? I don't want to be down here.
Smell of ruin.
It's a much bigger job than they anticipated, and they thought it was a big job. Oh Lord, no thank you. I don't like what happens when we take pictures!
You're thirsty enough, they'll shoot through just about anything.
Oh Lord almighty. Is that like an outline of a figure? What happened last night? If you were doing something with her husband, I don't like you anymore. If there was an innocent explanation, I'll take it.
I fucked up last night, Daddy.
It was real.
I mean, I fucked up.
When I was editing, I sort of paid
Crane standards.
paid attention to what it looked like was happening, and if anything, it looked like she was going for him. So I don't know. They're married by hope.
And if I can't flip it in a couple of months,
I know. I will
It's the reason they didn't move out.
these plans into one master
But I think given how terrifying everything got, send the kids to their aunts, even though you don't want to do that.
Have you actually seen rats?
Just heard them.
hearing them.
Just the way Stephen follows his dad around, he really looked up to him and really idolised him, and that's part of why I think he hates him so much now.
We were solid, babe.
We were.
And then you
Those
were,
last few days
when they
don't count.
died. Oh,
That wasn't us.
oh God. The truth is, with the role models, Stephen did see his dad as a good role model, and had they not gone to Hill House by some miracle, had they decided to flip a different place, he would still have his dad as a role model. But obviously, in his mind, his dad is someone that enabled crazy delusions and lied about his mother's suicide, and that's going to kind of cause an unhealthy growth of mindsets. I don't want to think too much about why we're here, actually.
Just be with him. You don't have to talk.
It's sort of like his better parenting instincts are coming through his image of her.
A lot of people loved her.
They'll always love her.
I saw in the obit and I wanted to be here.
You thought you'd what?
Oh.
Exactly.
Support someone that needed
That
help.
your sister died. I'm sorry.
Fuck my day.
She needs a lot of patience if you are serious about trying to pursue something with her.
There she is.
It's that Aunt Janet. Did she fight to take the kids away from him? Or did she step in when they were taken away?
I'm so sorry.
No parent should be here.
None of us should be here.
It's a messy family, but she did care about them in her own way. And of course she didn't believe any of the crazy ghost stuff, because who would in the real world?
Okay.
Good job, honey.
What is it?
And I will not say that she is dead. She's just awake
Who is?
with a cheery smile.
She looked at me and she said, "You go in there and you bring my brother back."
He did.
My brother back. I was born 90 seconds before I know. But she was always my big sister.
I don't know how you cope.
She could use a little time away from the house.
Time away from
Is this him trying to help?
Yeah.
They all could do with a
You might be
freaking
right.
time away from the house.
It's probably not your place.
But my mom, she never liked Hill House.
None of your kids
She'd
do.
come home. I met Clara when she got hired on working for Ms. Hill. We even got married on the grounds.
The house your mother hated that made her scattered.
Clara, she spent a lot. My little girl's stillborn.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's so much pain in this house.
And these nightmares, they had her down in a corner, shaking so bad I thought she'd seize up dead.
God, I'm sorry.
And think about how your children have started having nightmares, and
She's clean. But here's the thing. It worked.
why didn't they do
No more
something
nightmares.
to try and stop them, a family with 5 children
No more
moving
acting
in?
Scattered.
You just tell them the truth when the real estate
Stuck
agents
to
bring
it.
them round.
And it's better.
Did Theo tell you what she did?
No.
Just let it be. Listen to her.
Can you unplug it over there?
Oh Lord.
And hand me that hex wrench. It should be in there.
I'm so scared he's gonna do the wrong one or something. Is that a face? It is, isn't it? Like in the picture. Fucking hell!
What?
I unplugged it.
It's okay. It was an
He's-
accident.
He did unplug it though.
It's okay. You've helped.
Was this the beginning of the fracturing of their relationship? Because Stephen did unplug it and...
Alright, you fucker.
Oh Lord. Have you got something on your hand? Can't you just find someone else to sell that sells to? Preferably someone that's technically an evil person. Not that I imagine anyone would want to buy an old decrepit house with mold.
She did raise her.
From when she was 6. I know you don't like her, and I'm sure there are so many valid reasons why. But she did raise her from when she was 6. She's not just an aunt, she's also like a mother.
Don't.
Fucking hell! Stephen, you have seen things.
Mom and Nellie. Hey, stop it.
What? You've seen things too.
Look at me. Look, I know all about it. I write about it.
Oh, and you've seen things
Hell,
too.
I've seen things this week, but it's not real. It's not.
It is.
Like Mom and Nell didn't get their shit together.
I
and
know
felt
what
just
you
like
think.
them.
I know
Understand?
why you think that, Stephen. You're desperate to protect another family member, but it's real.
It's a sickness.
It would be an interesting twist if this was all just psychological trauma. So Nell saying don't, and then the mother saying stay. Is that like because their mother was being possessed, so the evil thing that possessed their mother wants them to come home, and Nell doesn't want them to come home because they'll die too? And like before Nell died, she saw that Luke on the floor, on the ceiling. Oh lord. This house at night time is not my friend. Oh my god. Does the house want to kill him because he's trying to get into the red room and he's trying to destroy their secrets?
Liv.
I'm so sorry. I don't even know.
Leave the house, please. I know they don't.
You're
I
holding
know
a fucking screwdriver to my
financially that they can't, but
We need to talk.
I could see it. Janet's up for a visit. Just for a couple days or something.
That could be good.
you should have gone with the kids the minute they started having
I used
nightmares.
to juggle the kids in the house. I'll sort it out.
Oh. It's too late by then, right?
Promise.
God, I so understand that, like, because they're flipping this house and obviously they've sunk all of their money into this endeavour. They can't just leave the house and move on. I imagine when he did just leave the house and move on, he would have been living quite desperately for a while, which is probably part of why he lost the kids. I think in that situation, send the kids to their Aunt Janet's. Like, even if Janet's a bit unreasonable, or even if she's like, what, 5 kids? No! You know, just kind of be like, they have to go. You know, there's an emergency here, or the house isn't safe for the children to live in. You know, just say something like that and get the kids out of here. I also understand as a parent the desire to be there with your children and to watch every second of their lives and to be the one that supports them and helps them grow and to not believe that this house could do anything that would harm them. But just the amount of terror these kids were going through and then she's going through it, I just wish the whole family had left for a while. I don't know. I know financially it's not as simple as just casually leave. It's not like, you know, and if they did just sell the house and leave, then would they just be giving it to somebody else? She's talking to someone.
Probably won't have to see them again for years if you don't want to.
He wants to, though.
They recreate loved ones in their mind. And, no, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. In fact, my therapist says that it's a perfectly normal.
I'm happy for you, Dad.
He is trying.
But you don't have to feel crazy because sometimes
Big boys know the difference between what's real and imaginary. Isn't that right, Dad?
He's trying.
I'm glad you're here, Dad.
Oh. Like, when he was a little boy, I understand why he told him, like, it's not real. And I never really like it when people say to kids, oh, big kids do this, but it's a thing that everyone does. But oh Lord, I don't want to know, thank you very much. Just please stop. Holy shit! That face, I don't know. Well, that's the other body. I really don't like that. I really don't like that figure in the background.
Upstairs. Make sure they don't see this.
Oh, I don't like that figure that was in the background. Oh, no thank you.
William Hill, been missing since 48.
Jesus.
Case went cold with a...
Yeah, he was trying to scratch his way out.
He's been hearing scratching. He was hearing the scratching, and there was the creepy lady with the long hair. Is that who's behind all this? Did he do that to try and protect people by building himself up?
Folks around town.
as I'm flying out early in the morning, so I probably won't see you.
You're all set with your flight?
All set, yeah.
They were so close
be around.
once.
My car. Reception's over, Theodora. As far as you're concerned,
Luke?
we're closed.
Sorry. You want my card? I can pay for the catering.
Please say Luke's going to try and... Oh, I don't want him to fucking Hill House, but...
He looked wrong.
Today would be so
Silence doesn't protect them.
triggering.
Yes.
What the fuck? Oh my god, no, is that dirt? Oh no, I don't really want to go in here, thanks.
I can.
Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Oh my god. it's all real and you need to do something about it. And she just wanted her dad to protect her in that moment, and he was there.
These 3 hours. These 3 hours would help you so much right now, and you won't do it. I don't understand that.
I told you.
The 3 hours you
A
waited.
man not wanting to
After you
admit his
discovered
wife
her body,
killed
before
herself
you called
isn't
us,
that
what
dissimilar?
happened in those 3 hours? We talked to Janet, and she never.
I know.
So he
Anything you
thought
wanna
she
add
was
to that?
going,
Not really. I thought
and
she
then
went
she
out of
was
town,
there,
but she hadn't, that's all.
and the house was trying to
I
take
must have
them.
misunderstood.
This show is so intensely well done. It's so good. Oh, the freakiest thing in this episode was for sure the long-haired creepy lady. I just, like, every time I blink, I feel like I see her face. And just, it's so good with the suspense, and it doesn't rely on, you know, cheap tricks and cheap jump scares, or it's had its jump scares, but it doesn't rely on them to creep you out. And I really am so invested in the wider mystery of Hill House, and the fact that Mr. Hill, I can't remember his name, sealed himself inside a wall in his house, and his widow was doing private investigators all her life, which suggests he didn't. It's not like, you know, she did it, and even though I know he did it to himself because he had the materials, that almost suggests that whatever's been going on was happening then, that he felt like that was the only way he could protect himself from something or protect others from himself, because that's definitely what I feel like when I know the house killed. Now maybe it's going to be that Olivia died similarly to Nell, in the sense that she didn't know what was happening until it happened, but I also definitely think she may have technically killed herself, but done so because the alternative was hurting the children or her husband. And it could even be a similar thing to why Mr. Hill sealed himself up in the wall of the house. You know, I sort of would have wanted to believe that finding a body, a bit like Supernatural, you burn the body and then poof, the ghosts are gone. But there's a lot happening in this house, and it seems like there are many generations of spirits trapped here. You know, Nell, maybe even the old lady and like the little boy we saw are all just people trapped rather than malicious spirits, and then there is a malicious entity within the house that we need to know more about, and the Red Room is obviously totally linked. I just keep feeling like there's going to be something there. I can kind of tell that there's nothing behind me there because I can see myself when I do my review portion, but like, I'm scared there's going to be someone there. I just, so well done with the mystery and the way they're creeping closer and closer, and you know, like, he injured his hands, you're like, oh, we're nearly there. And you know, with his story, of course, sorry, I just thought I had scratching, and I know I didn't, but with the real world, in the real world, if we were watching, you know, a true crime documentary and they were like, the husband wouldn't account for 3 hours, he said he was grieving and didn't call 911, you know, he left his children alone in a motel. It's interesting that the officers noted that when it was suggested his wife killed herself, that he got very defensive that she did not, but he also claimed he didn't you know, like, you would be screaming he did it at the camera. And then there would be, you know, devil's advocate, you'd be saying, oh, he's just a broken man who found his wife's dead body, you know, like, I think people would see both sides, but at the same time, it doesn't look good for him. And him leaving the kids in the motel after it and everything, it really looks bad. We still don't know how she died. No one has said that Nell did it the same way that their mum supposedly did it, so, and at least the children, none of the children believe he murdered her. The children all believe it was suicide, and he didn't tell them the truth, and he said it was the house, and that fed into Nell and Luke and all these delusions. So I guess ultimately they did come down on the side of it being suicide. I suppose the children, as much as I know that in so many cases you don't know someone and someone could be being abusive and you don't know, children, like, being in the house, you do tend to know. The Dudleys, the revelation that again they were affected, that potentially even they lost their child. I know he said it was a result of the overworking, but part of me wonders if it could have been a result of Hill House. He was born in the house, so does that mean that he's like extra affected? Like, what does that do? Who is the little girl Luke is seeing? Is that their daughter grown up, though she'd been way older than that? wouldn't she? I don't know. There's so many different questions and so many things that I'm so excited to learn, and I know we will learn, but I'm like a mixture of being so excited to learn them and also being like, maybe if you just give me a written summary. But no, this show's so good. So there's definitely a lot more going on, and I just, in the first episode, you're like, oh, the evil bent neck lady, but that is just Nell's spirit. That is just her being trapped. The guy that's following Luke everywhere he goes, is he just another trapped spirit, or is that part of the malevolency of the house? Oh. And it seems as though their mothers, you know, I was sort of thinking their dad was seeing like their mother's ghost, but obviously he just, for him it is a genuine like crazy person stuff would be what like Steve would say, but no, it's a genuine coping mechanism. It's kind of how he keeps going, is by imagining she's with him, and you know, she's his better angel, she always knows the right thing to say, and of course he ignores her a lot of the time. I thought that was interesting that they're not saying that he's seeing her ghost all the time, because it's almost as though the ghost, like when she died, she was still being possessed by the creature, by the house, and so kind of the house is embodying her. That's why it appeared like her to Nell. That's why it wants the children home. It keeps it flashed the porch light on the forever house. You know, she told Luke to stay in the grave. Nell told Luke to no. She told Luke, you have to go. I guess that means don't go to the house, or I don't know. No matter what, I really hope this ends with us defeating whatever is the malevolent force in the house and putting all of the spirits to rest. It's the best we can hope for. Now, I don't believe in like heaven and hell and God and everything. I'm like the Cranes on that one. But given that there are ghosts, maybe there is some kind of an afterlife where they could go and be peaceful together, and one day we'll be together again. The stuff, you know, I feel like that really was the beginning of the fracturing of Stephen's belief in his dad. He idolised him, he looked up to him, he wanted to be his dad's mini-me, he wanted to do everything his dad did. And then, you know, he did unplug it, and his dad didn't believe him that he didn't, although of course it was plugged back in, so why would you believe it? And then his dad kind of dismissing him, going from being like, oh, he's not a kid, and like, he can do it with me, to being like, oh, just, you've messed up, go away. That guilt over her hurt dad, now he doesn't want me there, would have been playing on his mind. And then all the events of what happened. And it just kills me that his mind, or Hugh's figment of imagination wife, told him exactly what Stephen might have wanted to hear. You know, saying one nice thing isn't going to make up for everything, but as much as Stephen is acting like a jerk a lot of the time, as much as Stephen with his dad doesn't give him a chance, he's quite aggressive and quite argumentative with him. Of course he is. In this situation, I don't care how old he is the child who has been hurt by things that happened, and there were things his dad could have done differently, so that would have meant the world to him if his dad had said that. Luke, see, a part of me, I could so believe that Luke, having seen what he saw, having his dad, or just sort of wanting to make it go away, because when he takes drugs, he doesn't see the guy, maybe he wouldn't see Nell anymore, you know, I could totally see, just on an ordinary show, if this was just a drama show about a family, an addict in recovery could well be pushed back onto the brink of using again, with something as traumatic and triggering as his twin sister's funeral. His speech was beyond beautiful, by the way, and Shirley's poem as well. But I also feel like with Luke, he believes Nell was murdered. I don't think anything Stephen or his dad did. I think he knew what to say to them to make them buy it, but I have to believe that, especially plot-wise, because there's only 3 episodes left, he is either going to try and help out his friend who was in trouble, although she did also steal from him, but I have to believe he is going to try and do something to help Nell. He's going to try and do something to make this all stop. And he didn't think anyone else would believe him if he'd told them what he was doing. But of course he could also just be using, and I wouldn't blame him. I mean, I would be disappointed for him. I would be disappointed that he used his siblings again in that manner, if that was what he was doing, but I also would understand that it's not as simple as just, oh, he shouldn't have done it. But I don't think it's as simple as him going off to use. The end moment, or the body in the house, freaky, terrifying. Every time I blink, I see the silver-haired lady. Did Luke understand in that moment? I mean, he knows what happened to Nell was not suicide. I mean, Nell wouldn't have dropped him in... I mean, okay, I understand actually that you can't really say, oh, so-and-so wouldn't have killed themselves because depression and suicidal ideations, it's not black and white, it doesn't follow like an easy linear path. But you kind of think, how would she go from telling him to go in there and bring her brother back to being like, but I'm not going to be here when you get out, lol. You know, I can't see that being the case. But then could you argue that that's why, from their perspective, that's why she phoned them up to say, I'm worried about Luke right before she killed herself because she wanted them to look after him? I don't... Obviously, as an audience, we know it wasn't suicide. If they turn around and they say, oh, everyone in this house is just mentally unwell, then maybe they will be like, oh, it was just... But no, it obviously is more than that. And Shirley, I know on the night it happened, she saw their mum in the kitchen and woke their dad up because it was weird. And then obviously she was already in the car at the point when we saw everyone being like, Stephen and Theo. I always want to call Theo Shirley and I don't know why. I think because in the very first episode I wasn't sure which of them was which, and now even though I know 100% which of them is which, my brain is just like, names, mix them. Everyone's called Shirley. I'm still so intrigued about how many of them. Like, Stephen saw the least that night. But with Theo, it was when she touched his hand on that night, she got glimpses of everything that happened, but it was extraordinarily overwhelming in an already freaky night. And then when he was carrying Stephen out, someone was like following them, and there was like a lot of horrific images. Theo had kind of seen that much, and she knows that when she touches things she can see, like, she's aware of supernatural elements existing much more than any of the others, but what they saw was beyond horrific. And, you know, seeing that kind of disfigured nightmare version of your mother clawing at you, I couldn't even imagine that. And in that moment she reverted back to being that little girl who wanted her parents to tell her everything was okay. But she saw that. Now, obviously, I could understand it if she went the way of Stephen, of this whole family has a genetic disposition to being, you know, to psychosis or something like that. But she knows about the supernatural, she believes in it, that's why she wears gloves, she can't be touched because she gets that sense. So I do truly believe that she's going to believe it's real, and that potentially if their father had spent this time, these years, convincing himself that it wasn't ghosts, it wasn't anything supernatural, this will also be the wake-up call for him. I don't know that Shirley's going to believe them, but surely the two of them are going to believe them, and then they're going to maybe believe that Luke saw something real too. And if he was listening to Stephen at the grave, then Stephen said, and I've seen stuff this last week, so he can believe that Stephen's seen things too. And again, none of them know Shirley's seen anything, but she has seen things. I need them to start coming together about this, and I hope this show doesn't leave them all dead. I hope this show leaves them in a place where they can begin the healing process, and of being there for each other and finding their way to each other again, and of healing from the trauma that began all those years ago. But no, this was a brilliant episode as always. It was a heartbreaking episode. It was a terrifying episode. I am very, very glad I am watching this episode. Like, it's just 10:03 p.m. I have many hours before I go to bed, so hopefully I will not be haunted by, if I open my eyes, I'm stressed. Just something about that. It's the way they hide people in the background. It's so well done, but it's... Pretty sure I just had my mum downstairs. Fucking hell. It's so well done, but it's that you almost don't notice it at first, and then you do, and that's one of the freakiest things, because, you know, there are moments where it's dark, and you think you see something in the real world, and then you turn, and of course it's just nothing, and your brain is like, what the fuck? I may not sleep tonight, but it's fine. This was a brilliant episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. Thank you so much, Albert, for sponsoring this show. You're freaking me out, but I love it, and thank you for watching.